Do an Alton Towers Scarefest review. This was reviewed on Tuesday the 20th of October. I went yesterday. I think it's just after the week I went to Fort Park for Fright Night. This is going to be quite an in-depth review of all the mazes, the scare zones, and how the day actually went on the day. It was a really good day, not a lot of cons, so stick around, have a listen for this review. First up, we're going to start up on a roundup. So I've got the massive, huge map here. Take a look at that. Massive. Okay, so we'll get started. First of all, we're going to start with, so there's 3 scare zones this year. Well, sorry, 2 scare zones. There's 3 mazes. The 3 mazes which are Terror of the Towers, there's Subspecies, the Endgames, and lastly, there's the Haunting of Molly Crow. All mazes are actually located in the towers, so they're really easy to locate and have access to. It's not like you're rushing around the whole sort of park to actually get access to these, and you have to do them consecutively. So as soon as you start your first maze, you have to do the next 2 after, because you only have 90 minutes from your ticket to actually go to all these mazes. So it's best to do them all very quickly, I'd recommend. And also to definitely just, as soon as your ticket starts, go there straight away. I would definitely recommend doing all 3 straight away, because you've only got 90 minutes. The queues are not very long because it's actually paid tickets and everyone has a time slot. So yeah, that's really you got really good access to the actual mazes this time. It wasn't like Fort Park where you was waiting hours just to go into a maze. That's because they're free, however. I'm maybe doing a comparison video with the Fort Park mazes and the Alton Towers mazes as well. But first of all, we'll start with the mazes soon, with each review for each maze. Then we'll go on to the scare zones for now. So you've got 2 scare zones this year, which are Dark Apocalypse, that's located in the Forbidden Valley, and you have Nox Infernus, which is located in the Dark Forest. So another good thing about these is they're around the park and they're dotted around. And the good thing is it's open till 10 AM till 9 PM at midnight. I was a bit slow then. Yeah, 9 PM midnight, which is really good. So you get to ride all the rides in the dark, which are awesome. So you've got like Nemesis in the dark, which is just insane. You can't see where you're going, it's crazy. Oblivion, loads of rides. 13, not a fan favourite, but still pretty good in the dark. Yeah, so some good rides in the dark, especially Air. You gotta do that in the dark, so they're awesome in the dark. So good rides in the dark, which is really, really good. So we're gonna hit straight now into the mazes. I'll do a review by review of each maze, what I thought and my impressions. I won't do any spoilers or anything, so I'll just go straight through them. So I'll start with, we wanted to start with the tamest one because we didn't know what we was going to expect, because these mazes are for 15-year-olds, so I didn't know what to expect. I'm 22, but still, you never really see notices like that. But so the first maze we actually did was Terror of the Towers, What Lies Within. And the description on here says, Terror of the Towers is a live-action horror maze which is designed to push fear to the limit. In small groups, you will venture around the darkened corridors of the Forgotten Ruin and discover the terrifying secret which lies within. This is a new maze for the year. I think it's been done last year, but they've changed a couple of things inside. And I've heard a lot of people around it saying in the queue that it's so much better this year than it was then. So before I got in the queue, I was feeling a bit eerie about this one because it's the first maze of the day. And I have to say, straight away after, it's one of the best mazes I've ever been in. It was so intense. There was characters everywhere in there. There was just like so many people in there. It was unreal. Like, I've been to America and never seen that many people in the maze before. It was amazing. It was very, very good. Very well thought out. Good lighting inside, like strobe lightings inside there. There's also smelly bits in there as well, which was really cool. But the whole like sort of theme inside was really like gothically themed. Really good dress up makeup in there. So definitely for that one, I wouldn't say it was tame either after being in it. It was quite intense, but you get to hold the shoulders of the person in front of you, which was really cool. Because you ain't going to get lost or split up, which isn't too scary. So I'd say the fear factor for this one was about a 3 out of 5, because you're holding on to your friends and it's not so scary. But they were really in your face. They were really good, great actors in there. But I'd give the maze 5 out of 5 because it was a really good maze. But for scares, 3 out of 5. So we'll move on to the next maze, which was the one I was most scared about, because I was reading about online about this one and I was like, oh god, this sounds really bad. Okay, this one's called Subspecies The Endgames. It says here in the description, Subspecies is a live-action horror maze which will push the boundaries of anything Alton Towers Resort has ever done before. You would descend deep into an underground post-apocalyptic sewer system. Here your group will be split up and you will choose your own route in an attempt to avoid creatures that chase after you. Sounds scary already. Unlike your other mazes, the creatures may touch you. If you are lucky enough to escape, Subspecies features 2 alternative endings, making each visit completely unique, which is really cool. So it's not the same twice. So it's a little like the Cabin in the Woods maze at Fort Park, but nothing like that, because you get alternative routes comparing it to that. So that's really good. As it says in the description, you may get split up. I was speaking to a guy before we got in the maze and he was telling me it was going to happen. I was just like, oh god, this is going to be bad. So as soon as you go in there, I don't want to give too many spoilers away yet again, but yeah, you're going into a sewer system, and I have to say this is the most probably intense maze there, and yeah, it's good. This is the best maze at Alton Towers at the moment, so if you want to do a scary maze, pick this one. And we'll get into it, so we don't want to spoil too much. So first of all, when you first go in, there'll be 4 doors, and you'll have a countdown, and it will go 3, 2, 1, and you'll have people pulling you in, dragging you, and you'll go through a door. If you run with your friend into that door quickly, you'll probably be okay. But if they close the door, get in your face, you've got no chance. So if you want to stay safe with your friends, run for that door quickly. That's what I did, and it was still intense after. Going through it, all the characters were really dressed up well, same as the first maze. It was really good. How do I say it? It's actually quite claustrophobic in this one because you've got like some crawl spaces in this one. You've also got these like 2 sort of massive like balloon things together, and you're like squashed and you're going through them. So that was pretty cool as well. It was really intense, to be fair. With all the actors around you, they were really in your face. They were touching your legs, touching the back of your head, everything. Yeah, so they can touch you in here. They can grab you. But they won't harm you as long as you don't harm them, of course, and punch them in the face. So yeah, the end games is a really good maze. A good surprise at the end of that one as well. There's a massive monster. I won't go into too much detail, so you see it, and I won't tell you when it is, but it's somewhere towards the end. You won't know that. And there's also some creatures lurking around. So yeah, find them and look back. So Subspecies is definitely 5 out of 5 scare factor, and 5 out of 5 maze, because that was definitely the best maze of the day. That was the second maze. The last maze was the third one, and that was called The Haunting of Molly Crow. And this one, I was quite sceptical because you have to have a bag on your head for the whole thing. I was taking selfies with a bag on my head because I'm cool. Okay, so let's get into the description of that. So, The Haunting of Molly Crow is a multi-sensory live-action horror maze that throws you back in the era of exorcisms of a cursed Victorian manor house. You will be hooded and therefore completely blindfolded for the majority of the experience, which will heighten your senses, making this one of the most extreme and claustrophobic mazes to date. So, reading that description, you feel a bit net of it. But I thought this maze could have been done better, because the other 2 were so good. This one really let me down, kind of. So I'll get into it's sort of Victorian themed, and it's captured around this girl Molly, but you can see like the exorcism fall into it. So what I'll say is I'll talk about the bag on the head. So you'll have a bag on your head before you go in. You'll touch the right hand of your friend's shoulder, and you'll hold that. And you also have your left hand, which will hold a rope, and you'll go across, and your hand can never leave the rope that's actually going across. so you have to keep the rope in your hands. It's quite difficult actually navigating through this maze. I lost the rope a couple of times. So I was like, oh god, where am I going? I was lucky I had my hand on the shoulder, otherwise I would have been doomed forever in there. I reckon I would have been there for the night. But this maze, yeah, could have been done a lot better. You have a lot of people screaming, but you can't see them in your face. People grabbing your legs. It sounds scary, but it's just it didn't have an overall effect on me. Maybe it's different for other people, but I believe they shouldn't bring this back last year. However, I think the ending was done really, really well, and I don't want to go into that because it'll be a massive spoiler. But the ending is absolutely fantastic to Molly Crow, and it's very, very well done. As in, like, it's very high quality. It's something you wouldn't expect from probably like American standard with the budget, because it was an incredible budget at the end. So for the ending, 5 out of 5. Yes, that's really good. And with the subspecies, the ending is 5 out of 5 because there's some massive monsters. But I won't go into the Molly Crow one because that would just be spoiling things. So I'd give the Molly Crow one fear factor probably a 1 or a 2 out of 5 because it wasn't that scary. However, the maze probably a 2 or a 3. Off the top of my head, yeah, it just wasn't the best. We'll bring it back next year. Whereas the other two, I'd definitely bring back into the parks. They were very, very good mazes. Another thing to point out is with the scare zones as well, and this is what impressed me the most with my day at Alton Towers. These were really good scare zones, and there was a couple of characters in the scare zones, and they were walking across the park. They were getting into people's faces all day. It was just great to actually watch and see, because they wouldn't stop, they wouldn't break character, and they'd stay in it, and it was just great to watch. It's a good laugh as well as scares, because they're scaring people and they're just screaming. It's just funny to watch, and it's also good when you go into the mazes as well, scare zones, sorry, and they're picking on you, and it's really funny, to be fair. What I was going to point out with this review, it's not just for adults. Throughout the day, well, when we entered the park, you see the ancestors. I think it's the Alton ancestors, and they're like dancing, like sort of thing, so the kids can get involved with them as well. They're dancing to songs. They're dressed up quite ghoulishly, but not too scary, which is really cool. So there's also a lot of things for kids actually on the map. It's got here. We didn't actually do these, but we actually seen them as we went across, and they did look really good for kids. So Alton Towers is not just for adults this year, of course. It's for kids as well, which is a family-friendly park, of course. So they're going to try to please everybody, but it definitely looked great for kids. So they had, let's point a couple of things out which are on the map. As it does say, it says Spooktacular Family Fun. So there's Skelvin Spooky Story Time, which it says here in the description. Help Skelvin, the skeleton, decide on his costume for Halloween with so many chooses. He's going to need your help. So I'd imagine that's like you're going to be helping one of the guys dress up his outfit for Halloween. So that could be pretty cool for the kids. There's another one called Phil Franklin's Ghoulish School, which describes as Franklin has forgotten how to spook, so Phil needs your help to remind him. Be there early, as this spectacular show is bound to be popular, and stick around around afterwards, as Phil and Franklin might want to meet you. So that's going to be like a meet and greet with these guys. It's just sprayed as like a Ghoul and Frankenstein on here. I did see the stage the other day as well. It looked really well. Another thing I'd like to point out as well, moving on from the kids bit, although it just looked great for the kids, the park is dressed up absolutely fantastic. And yeah, there's pumpkins everywhere, scarecrows. It looks really neat. Also with the castle, holographics on the castle, good lighting around the park. It looks really, really good. Yeah, so that's a big bonus as well. Trying to think lastly what we can go through. Navigating the park as well throughout your day. You want to use the zip lines as soon as you can by like 6 p.m. because they actually close at 6 p.m. So you don't want to tie your feet too early. Use the zip lines to get wherever you can, because as of 6 p.m. they're closed, because I think it's like sort of a health and safety thing at night. I'm not sure if that is the case, but I would definitely use those, because during the end of the night you're probably going to get tired and not want to be walking so much, because it is a very long day. It's almost 12 hours, and yeah, you're going to get very tired. So definitely do that. Just have a last look at the map, see if there's anything else I can point out to you. Another thing will be the actual pumpkin meter on the map. Don't go by the pumpkin meter, only for the kids stuff, because with the mazes the pumpkin meter is all wrong. So yeah, that's another thing to point out. As I'll go back to the scare zones, look, the guys were really well dressed up, and the zombies with chainsaws, all sorts of things. If you've ever been on the Ride 13, you've got like the hooded guys. Don't know how to describe them better than that, to be fair. They're walking around, causing all kinds of mischief. It's really good. So, last thing I'd have to say, because I'm going to do a comparison video with Fort Park and this. So, these mazes are a whole lot more intense than Fort Parks at the moment. I haven't done all the Fort Parks, but Fort Parks were good, but this was much, much more better. But I'm also going back to Fort Park next week with fast track tickets, so that might be a better experience, as I will be able to do all the mazes. I did 3 last time, so I did 3 of Alton Towers, and I could tell the 3 Alton Towers ones were better than the 3 Fort Park ones. So yeah, Alton Towers was a great day. I'll give the day a good strong 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, because it was a great day. But another thing to point out was the day was very, very not busy. There was by the time we left the park, there was about 30 cars, and that's just ridiculous because the park was so quiet. It was unreal. That major effect it has on the park as well. So there's barely any queues. We barely queued for anything all day. If the park was more busy, maybe the mazes would have been a lot more hectic to get to. Whereas Fort Park, the park's crazy at the moment. There's an hour of queues for rides and everything during Friday night. At Scarefest, you're not queuing for anything, and it's just crazy. So that could have had a big effect on the day, of course. So take that into account when you go. If you're going in school time as well, where the kids break up, you might pick up a little, but I'm not 100% because of what happened with the Smiler. That has put quite a lot of negative press on Alton Towers. So yeah, we'll soon see as of next week. Let me know what you thought of Scarefest. Stick around for Fort Park next week for a more in-depth review on that. I have one up already, so if you want to check that out, have a go. Yeah, just let me know what you think of Scarefest and Fright Nights this year. I'd like to know what everyone's opinions were. I really enjoyed both so far. So yeah, just hit it up in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe as well, because I mainly go to theme parks and do this sort of stuff. So yeah, give it a try, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks guys.